Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is your boy Shadow FC, bringing us a brand new Fortnite Battle Royale video. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about why Season 3 failed so bad in terms of the player base and how many players were playing it, in terms of the viewer base on YouTube, on Twitch, in terms of the competitive base and why so many competitive players quit the game, and how FNCS was one of the lowest played FNCSs ever. Not only with all those numbers, but it was also a summer season. Usually these summer seasons are the highest ranked seasons in Fortnite. They're the highest viewer base seasons. They're the highest player base seasons in Fortnite. This was the worst, not only the worst summer season we've ever had in Fortnite, but one of the worst seasons we've ever had in Fortnite ever. And so in today's video, we are going to be talking about why that is, what Epic did wrong, and what they could have done better, what they could have done better in terms of the viewer base, in terms of competitive, a lot of different things, and it'll all add up once I explain it to you, but there's a lot of different things that we need to talk about of why Epic messed up so bad with this season. There's a lot to talk about, so without further ado, let's get to the video. So the first thing that I think killed the season the most was the overall vibe of the season. The theme of the season, which we get each season, this season's theme was chill. It was chill vibes, it was summer vibes, just kind of chill, lay low, no huge updates, no crazy storyline, just kind of a chill summer season. And in theory, that sounds really good. It sounds like it'd be a perfect vibe for summer. It sounds really nice and chill. But the problem is that's not what people want over the summer. When you have a ton of kids off of school and a ton of adults off of work, and there's a ton of people, both young and old, playing this game over summer, right? Every single summer, Fortnite's player base and viewer base are at the max it ever is. So what you want to do over the summer is not have this chill summer vibe where it's just kind of low-key, not too many huge updates, no storyline, just kind of a chill thing. You want to be cranking the updates. You want to be putting out like weekly, if not every other week, updates, having an insane storyline, one, maybe even two live events. You want to be putting as much as possible into that season, adding crazy items, crazy, updates, crazy things that'll get the viewer base up and the player base. But instead they decided to go with this chill, low-key vibe. And again, it sounds good in theory, but in reality, when you have as many people you're going to get in this year playing the game, you don't want it to be this kind of chill thing. You want to be cranking like the updates and everything so it's as exciting as it can be. And what I mean by that is there was no storyline this season. And I know not everyone pays attention to the storyline, but even if you don't pay attention to the storyline, it's still something that plays a huge part in updates in this game, in events. Obviously, the end of season events are some of the biggest times for Fortnite, but we're not going to get one of those. We didn't have any storyline updates this season. And even if you don't pay attention to the storyline, the updates related to the storyline are always very big, and again, we get the events, tons of teasers, and constant map changes, and it's very fun for people that do pay attention to the storyline to be constantly wondering, what's going to happen, making theories and all these things. So the big thing, I think, one of the big things about this season's theme and the chill vibes is the no storyline. I think that's one of the things that hurt this season. And another thing that really hurt this season in terms of the chill vibes was the lack of updates. And I'm sure we saw a few updates. We did see the Dragon Ball Z update, the biggest update we've had in a while, but it's still not really just Fortnite's own update. Again, it's a collab. I know a lot of people love Dragon Ball Z. I personally don't watch Dragon Ball Z. I could care less about that update. I think it's cool though that, again, a lot of people are excited about it. But the thing is other than that collab update, we really did not see any big updates from Fortnite this season. We saw small ones where something would get unvaulted, or we'd have like a crazy week of something. But other than the Dragon Ball Z update, we saw no huge updates. And in prior summer seasons, and even just normal summer seasons, we've seen weekly, if not every other week, updates from Fortnite. And of all seasons, during the summer, that is when it's most important to be constantly updating the game because there's so many people constantly playing it. Another thing that hurt Fortnite competitively was these terrible server lags and not queuing into games. The server lags, now this was a problem very early on in the season. They managed to fix it around mid-FNCS. However, that is so long in between the server lags because the server lags, I'm not sure how many of you guys watch comp, but if you did, you would notice in FNCS lobbies and cash cups, these servers were terrible. You'd have players full box, a floor on top, a floor on the bottom, and then 4 walls in between them. Full box, get 200 to 0 through their entire boxes. You'd have players floating mid-air, walking in air. The grapples were bugged. It was such a buggy and terrible early on comp season for the servers. And you also had players not queuing into set lobbies and cash cups and FNCS qualifiers. So you'd have 50-player qualifiers, and a team, either both players on a team or just one of the players wouldn't queue into the game. And now, obviously, it's only one game. People make the argument, well, it's going to happen, but that's never really been an issue before. Sure, maybe a few seasons ago you might get one person out of all 6 games, but it was happening almost every single game. And people on the broadcast, now the broadcast wouldn't say, but third-party viewing channels like Aussie Antics, we would all be happy if we had 100 players in the game. That's how bad it was. There were some times where there was like 70 in and they actually had to restart. They had to re-queue because so many people DQ'd. So there were times this season where we would be happy if all 50 players loaded in. That should not be a thing we celebrate. We should not go, oh, let's go, the whole lobby loaded in. So that was another thing, was the queuing times were terrible. for Arena because no one's playing Arena, and then you also have the queuing for FNCS and set lobbies, where you literally would have players in $100,000, $200,000 tournaments not queuing into the games because the servers were so bad. And what I mentioned just a minute ago was the queuing times for Arena. Arena was also at its lowest point ever. The player base for Arena was terrible. Last season, someone had like 1 million Arena points. This season, the highest was like 60,000 Arena points. The reason is because they made it so hard once you get to Champion League. Kills are only worth 5 points. I believe the placement was even less, so they really made it once you get to Champion League, there's no point to play it. You can easily get out of Champion League and DQ out of champs. It's not really fun. If you do, you can't really key and practice your fighting because it's only 5 points to kill. The placement was very bad as well, so what happened is for the few people that wanted to grind Arena, the queue times were so bad because no one is playing Arena. Not only in champs, only the few grinders that even wanted to make it to champs played Arena. And the problem is because queue times are the main reason a game dies, and with the queue times being so bad for Arena, and I'm talking like 6 to 7 minutes, middle of the day on like a Saturday for Arena, that is how a game A dies very quickly, and B, that should not be a queue time like that. 7 minutes to get into a game, but the reason is because no one was playing Arena, and Arena is a huge part of the game, it's a huge part of comp, so a lot of people were relying on scrims to play this game in practice for cash cups and FNCS. So next season, the whole Fortnite community and I are hoping we get a better Arena system to fix the queue times. A proper rank system would be amazing, or even just reverting it back to the old Arena where kills are worth 10 to 15 points, and it has an incentive to play Arena, because once you make it to champs, there was no incentive to play it this season. So hopefully next season, we get incentives to play Champion League Arena again. That way the queue times aren't terrible, and that way people actually want to play Arena and aren't relying on third-party scrim servers to practice for cash cups and FNCS and all that. Another thing that really hurt the game was the FNCS breaks. In between FNCS semifinals and FNCS finals, we had almost a month long of a break. And if you called in round 1 of FNCS finals, there was over a month between FNCS semifinals and FNCS finals. So this was the schedule for this season's FNCS schedule. Qualifier 1 was July 8th through the 10th. Qualifier 2 was the 11th, 13th, and 15th. Qualifier 3 was July 16th through the 17th. FNCS semifinals was the 22nd through the 24th. And FNCS finals was August 13th through the 14th. So what that means is if you called on Qualifier 1, July 8th through the 10th, you would have over a month break. You would have like 35 days in between that day you qualified and FNCS finals. So a lot of pros that qualified on the Qualifier 1 were a lot rusty, and even if you qualified on Qualifier 3, it was still just super weird. A lot of pros hadn't played in super long. They were relying on scrim servers to keep practice. It was super weird. The format for FNCS was super weird this season. And not only that, it wasn't like the season's super short. It's like a 60-day season. This season is one of the longest we've seen. We still have like a month to go in the season. So why they decided to rush FNCS Open finals through semifinals and then have this huge gap in between finals, I don't know. Well, I do know they all took a 2-week break, which Epic usually does. But the problem is they could have put the FNCS finals anywhere else. The way they formatted it around their break was terrible, and I think next time they need to format FNCS finals into their break. They shouldn't format their break around finals. It should be finals around their break. So what that means is basically Epic took a 2-week break. They always do. They take a 2-week break around in the summer, late summer, but that doesn't mean that it should come at the expense of a 3-week break away from FNCS. Again, if you want to take a break, that's fine, but you need to make it where when you have a super long 100+ day season, you can't squish everything in and then have this huge break to finals. They should space it out more so it's not this super long break in between semis and finals. The break was so bad, some people didn't even know finals was happening. I saw a lot of pros tweeting out like, hey, finals is today if nobody knows. A lot of like players were tweeting out, wait, finals is today. They were super surprised. Not obviously not players that qualified, but a lot of just normal Fortnite players, content creators, and other pros that didn't make finals were tweeting out like, oh, finals is today. Didn't even realize it. Like a lot of people didn't even know finals was going on simply because of this break and how it was super weird, and Epic didn't really manage it near as good as they could have. Another thing back to opens of FNCS and how the viewer rate and player rate was down for FNCS Open qualifiers. FNCS Open qualifiers was so low on some regions, in smaller regions like Brazil and OC in Asia. Qualifying to round 2 was 1 point. You literally had to get 1 point and then you would qualify to round 2 of Opens final. So you go from qualifier 1 to qualifier 2 as long as you could get 1 point in 10 games. That is crazy. So literally qualifier was 1 point. That is how low the the player base was this season. Now obviously on bigger regions like EU and NA that didn't happen, but on some of these smaller regions, and even these smaller regions usually have a pretty high qual, 1 point was all you needed. That means there were less than 2,000 players playing FNCS. Usually, even on small regions, you'll have at least like 5,000 or 6,000 players playing in FNCS. Not this time. You literally, not even 2,000 players played. That is crazy. On NA West usually, obviously, it's a smaller region. It's not as exciting. Usually, even NA West was down. It was only like 40 points, 35 points to qualify on some of the weeks. That is crazy. So the FNCS player base was down incredibly, and usually FNCS is when 99% of the comp players are playing that season, and clearly there were very few comp players playing this season. And I'm not even sure why exactly. I mean, obviously, the season was super weird for comp. They had a lot of things, including the server, so a lot of players were so fed up with the servers and just this weird comp season from Epic. A lot of them just didn't play it, and we see now how dead FNCS was. And FNCS again is usually one of the highest rated viewer and player bases of the season, and it clearly was one of the lowest viewed and player based parts of the season this season. Now, very late July and early August, we had that big $2 million cup in Saudi Arabia. A lot of people thought that would kind of be like World Cup and bring back a lot of views, which it did get a lot of views, but it could have gotten even more. Epic, again, handled it very, very weird. They weren't advertising it. They weren't tweeting on Twitter, yo, Saudi Arabia Cup starts in 2 days. They handled it very weird, and it was honestly hardly any people watched the Saudi Arabia Cup in NA or EU simply because of the Epic handled it so weird. So many people didn't even know that it was happening. This was the first major LAN event since World Cup, and few people knew about it simply because of the fact that Epic, again, their advertising and marketing was very weird. They didn't tweet about it. They didn't make any official announcement about it. It was a very weird event, and it was super exciting to watch, and had they handled that better and had they marketed that better, I guarantee you it would have been the most watched things this season and probably this whole year for Fortnite. But they handled it very weird. They didn't advertise it very well. They didn't market it, so it turned out to be, again, it was very cool, and for the people that watched it, it was very exciting to watch. But again, not a lot of people knew about it, and Epic handled it very weird. So one of the biggest things you can take away from this video about why this season failed so bad is because of the comp schedule. And Epic really just did a terrible job of marketing comp, scheduling comp. The servers were terrible, and it really comes down to how bad comp was this season, and it was not good at all. You had a lot of teams quitting, a lot of people quit the season, and it was just at one of its lowest, if not the lowest it's ever been at this season. And you can blame Epic for it. It's not like there was a bunch of pros just quitting because they weren't enjoying this game. It was the servers, and it was terrible marketing and terrible scheduling by Epic for the reason this comp season was so bad. And in terms of why the casual mode was so bad is because Epic really did not put any big updates out there. There was no storyline, there was no event, there was no really big updates besides the Dragon Ball Z update, which unless you watch Dragon Ball Z, you're not going to care too much about it. There were no major updates. There was no major event. I mean, there wasn't an event. There was nothing major that happened in the casual side. There was no constant updates. I mean, really, this was a terrible season, and what makes it worse is this was in summer when everyone's trying to play it. So if you have a terrible season, but it's mid-school, school's just starting, or school's ending, or it's summer where not a lot of people are playing, then that's fine. But when you have one of your worst seasons ever in Fortnite history, during summer, when summer's usually the time where you have the most players playing, that is not good. A lot of people are going to quit because of that, and B, now you have a dead period. Fortnite usually has their most kind of dry period going into the fall, and then Christmas kind of gets a little more hype. But when you're going into the fall already with your worst season ever, when it was supposed to be your best, that's not good. And I'm expecting within these next few months, Fortnite goes down even more in viewer base and player base, unless they can do something crazy. Obviously, we have about 3 weeks left until the new season launches, Season 4. Hopefully, they throw in some crazy things, a new arena system, better comp updates, better casual updates, just crazy things coming in this new season. I'm not sure, though. We were hoping that this season, coming into this season from last season, obviously we had one of the worst seasons ever, so we're just going to have to wait and see. But definitely, it could have been a much better season from Fortnite. Alright guys, that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this season, what you think Epic could have done better, what you think they did wrong that hurt them. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you guys did, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. I'm getting out 2 to 3 videos a week now. I'm trying to upload more consistently. Again, it's not going to be a ton, especially with school starting for me, but I am going to try to get out 2 to 3 videos consistently each week. But yeah guys, thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a shoutout, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.